Okay, in this lesson we are talking about video, audio or text. So this is all about the delivery style that you might choose to give out your lessons in your online course. So when we talk about video, we've got live, live or animation. So live is a recorded video of you, sometimes known as a talking head. And then there's also things like Facebook Live, where you are actually live, or a webinar where you are actually live, but you can also show the replay. And then some people have been experimenting quite successfully in some cases with animated videos as well. For audio, we're talking here slides, so this is what you're seeing at the moment. It's an audio video, I guess, of slides with my voice talking over the top. You can do a screencast, which is where you're actually talking over the top of showing somebody what you're actually doing on your own screen, which can be very useful for if you're showing somebody something quite technical. And then there are podcasts, which I'm guessing you'll be relatively familiar with as they've been around for quite some time. Then there are texts files, which could be just a straightforward PDF document. You might direct somebody to an article, a blog that somebody's written, or you can do some kind of Q&A either within a discussion forum on Facebook or on Twitter. So let's look at each of those in turn. With video, they are excellent for building rapport, particularly if you get your face in front of people and then they know what you look like. They can imagine you when you're talking. So if you've watched the introductory video to this whole course, you will have seen my face. You'll be able to put the face visual to the sound of my voice, and that will build up rapport. It shows that you're a real person. Obviously this excludes animation, but it sounds really odd, but people like to know what you look like. I don't know if you've done this, but you listen to the sound of a radio presenter's voice and you imagine in your head what they look like. So it comes as a real shock when you actually see what they look like, and it's nothing like the image that you had. A smartphone for recording video in the first instance is absolutely good enough, as long as you remember to film in landscape and that you have a tripod, unless it's something like a Facebook Live video, in which case sometimes the movement of just holding your phone in your hand can add to the atmosphere. And you're wanting to film with a 16:9 ratio, so that's a wide screen ratio. And the other thing with video, honestly, it just comes down to practice. And if you are putting together an online course, I would strongly recommend that for your very first one, which you know you're going to want to redo anyway, you put as much video in there as possible so that you get practice not only being in front of the camera, but also practice in editing the video. And trust me, after you have gone over listening and watching yourself several times, you will give up on the idea of being embarrassed about being on video in the first place. You'll just get so used to it. When we look at audio, the most important part of any online course is the quality of the audio. It's the quickest thing that will turn students off is if the audio is not very good. So if you're going to invest in anything, then I would invest in a decent microphone and check your audio setup. It is also the thing that is most difficult for many people to actually get right. Make sure you warm up your voice, make sure you practice speaking. Of course, if you're a vocal coach, as I know some of you will be, then you won't have any issues with this at all. But for a lot of people, this is something that kind of takes them by surprise, actually. If you need to have a script for what you're saying, but try and speak in a natural style. Try and speak as if you have your perfect student sitting in front of you, and then you will come across a lot more naturally and authentically. And then for text documents, PDFs are by far the most common for this, and within any kind of modern Word package you can save your files as PDFs. You don't need to have the Adobe package. Infographics are also very popular, and more popular in fact. Lots of studies are showing that infographics, certainly as a free giveaway, are very good, what's known as clickbait, so they get lots of people clicking through. Texts documents are a nice sort of mixer for your online course, but I wouldn't advise using them as the base of your course unless you're putting together an email course. of course, in which case that's fine. But for anything else that you're offering that is not an email course, then I wouldn't have an entire course just based on text documents. But of course you will need them for things like downloads, handouts and workbooks, so definitely worth thinking about them from that point of view. Okay, that's the end of this lesson. Thank you again for your time, and I'll see you in the next one.